Inspiration, education, action. This is the Seeds to Success Show with Ben Godinez on Money 105.5.
Welcome back to the Seeds to Success Show. I am your host and Insurance 101 guy, Ben Godinez with Gateway Insurance Group. Take the if out of life and learn to live. Seeds to Success is brought to you in part by Go View This Home. You guys have heard me endorse them before, but it's because I actually use them. And even when I sell my house, I'm definitely going to use them. So give them a call today. You can email Jim at goviewthishome.com. See what they do. Go to their website. If you haven't already, if you're a fan of the show and you haven't seen what they do, even if it's not something that you can use right now for whatever reason, share it and you'll be impressed with what they can do. Goviewthishome.com. Guys, you are no less capable than Abraham Lincoln. Okay? Do you guys know anything about Abraham Lincoln's story? Like Honest Abe, where that came from, or like obviously all of what he achieved in his presidency we know, but like, do you guys know anything about his story? His growing up?
Oh, you know what? You're putting me on the spot.
Most people don't.
Right. I probably would say, yeah, I've heard that before. My son watches those the History Channel constantly, and so he has these stories on different people coming up all the time. But no, why would you enlighten us, please?
Absolutely. We all have unique stories. I just shared my story in the second segment here. Hopefully that was something that you guys can relate to. But the reality is, nobody cares. Nobody cares really why you came from where you are or what. It only matters what you do with that story. Okay, that's my harsh reality. If you have a great story like mine and you do nothing with it, it doesn't matter.
True.
Okay, absolutely. That's my point.
Yes.
It doesn't matter unless you do something with it. So the question is, so what? So let's ask some of the major names in entertainment, politics, business, sports guys and inventors, what they had to go through in their life. And so I've highlighted a few people here that I think you guys will draw from their experience. You may not know about them.
This is where reading biographies about people, the famous people, the people you like to watch, the people you admire, read their stories. Yeah. You always find something interesting in the story that you didn't know.
Absolutely. Bob Proctor is a perfect example of that. He always reads the stories of other greats before him.
Yes.
And it's really interesting. So Jim Carrey, and this is just a summation. I just encourage you guys to go and read the whole story on your own. But for time purposes, shorten this up. So Jim Carrey worked as a janitor to support his family at guess what age?
Oh, I think it was really young, right? Wasn't he in high school?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah.
15 to 17.
They lived in a car for a short time, too. Yeah.
Absolutely. And he basically lived out of his car and on the couch at the comedy club that he was practicing at. So he'd drive like a couple hours from his home in, I guess it was Ontario or Toronto or one or the other. And he drove there to do his stand-up comedy because he believed so much in his dream. And, he actually dropped basically out of high school to do this. He finished high school, but he was missing class and everything to pursue his dream and to make money because his father was not providing.
And not only that, but his father was his inspiration. Mm-hmm. He learned to cope through comedy, through these strifes and the hardships that his family went through.
Yeah,
and so his father was actually his biggest fan. Is what I remember reading.
Right. That's right. But yeah, he had to support his family at a very young age, and of course, you know him from all of his movies: Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, and the list goes on. And he's an icon now. But he was homeless pursuing his dream.
For many years until he got his first big movie paycheck.
Here's the cool thing about this. So yeah, of course he made millions of dollars from his first couple movies. But here's what he did. Talk about visualization and what Bob Proctor and Jen Barna teaches. He wrote a check to himself in the future. I think it was 5 years or 7 years in the future or something like that. For $1 million, right? $10 million. That one day he would cash that. That's how much he was going to be worth to be hired to do a movie. And sure enough, he cashed that check.
Yes, he did.
Isn't that incredible?
Every day, he said he looked at it every day. He thought about it
Had
every
it in his
day.
wallet.
He knew that was going to be his.
That's right.
Yeah.
Incredible. All right, Honest Abe, where did that come from? Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, back to that. Come on now.
Yeah, I know. I got to full circle it. So he received an informal education in woodcutting and crop planting, as was his typical frontier life. So he didn't actually go to what you would call a school in today's terms or like the old school schoolhouse.
More like a farmer.
Yeah, he was like a wood chopper. That was his education. His financial situation went from bad to worse in his early 20s when he purchased a general store, which later went bankrupt after the death of his business partner. They didn't have a buy-sell agreement, life insurance policy. That sucks. So Lincoln was left with thousands of dollars in debt and the loss of almost all of his assets. His misfortune turned out to be a good thing, though, because it was out of his depression that he began studying law. And then he met his wife, and he didn't start running for president until he was in his late 50s, early 60s, I believe it was. He didn't really get into politics until he was about 60 years old. And then, of course, he changed the world.
Changed the world.
It's never too late. And that's from the Borgen magazine. John Paul DeJoria, who is the co-founder and CEO of Paul Mitchell, if you guys know the hairline, yeah, number one selling hairline in the country, $4 billion company. His parents divorced when he was 2 years old. He went to work at age 9 to help support his family. At age 9, he had to work to chip in for groceries. It's just ridiculous.
I don't think that's too uncommon, sometimes.
Man, he ended up in foster care nonetheless, and after graduating high school, he served in the U.S. Navy and worked as a janitor. The common theme here with janitors.
Easy work.
DeJoria reached his lowest point when he joined the ranks of the homeless. Amazingly, he overcame these odds and co-founded Paul Mitchell Systems with hairdresser Paul Mitchell in 1980. According to Forbes magazine, his net worth in 2009 stood for $4 billion. Homeless guy, now worth $4 billion. That's courtesy of CNBC. If that doesn't inspire anybody right there, hold on to this one. Jose Altuve. One of my, he is my 10-year-old hero. If I was 10 years old right now, he would have inspired me to pursue Major League Baseball. He's 5'6", and he's a starting second baseman for the Houston Astros. Wow. He's leading the league in average. He's having the best year of his career right now. He's like a 4-time All-Star. He won countless awards. Okay, look him up. He's the shortest baseball player to play in the last 20 years, and he's one of 4 in the history of the game that has been below 5'7".
Wow.
Okay? I'm 5'6".
I know. You're so excited right
now.
I'm
so fired up. I really wish somebody had told me that it was possible for a 5'6" guy to make the major leagues, not only lead the league. He plays with my buddy Jason Castro on the Astros, and he's an inspiration to everyone on the team. He came from Venezuela, and he lived in his what is it? It was like a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment with 13 of his family members. Okay, and they didn't have enough money for baseball, so they would catch a foul ball from like the local college game, and they'd go play with that one ball for the entire day, and then a few days later they'd lose it. Didn't have much money for gloves or baseballs or anything, and still pursued his dream. His father was there to encourage him, and the quick story is how he made the majors. Is he showed up for a tryouts in Venezuela, and he didn't make the first cut. They said, "Go home. You're not good enough." He was persistent, and he said, "Nope, I'm still showing up the next day." If you guys have ever seen the movie Major League and Wesley Snipes, and he just shows up to practice and he acts like a big shot, and then he just ends up outrunning everybody, and then he finally makes the team, that was like Jose Altuve. He just showed up the second day of practice, and sure enough, they said, "We don't have any real money, more money left in our contract space or in our salary cap. We have $15,000 left over. Would you be willing to take that for an annual salary?" He's like, "Absolutely."
Wow. And
he took it, and now he's an all-star. So what if you don't have an amazing story like these guys?
I don't think you need one.
Yeah.
I think each person's story, in it, you can find amazing things going on happening. Yeah. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a wonderful story. Everybody's got an insightful story that can motivate and inspire others, no matter how doldrum they think their story is or how horrific they think their story is. Everybody's got a great story.
This is exactly what I wanted to say, Jen. Be grateful, be blessed that you're fortunate enough to not have to go through all these struggles, but use it. Use your story. When we come back, we're going to talk about how these stories can propel us into the life of our dreams. So stay with us. If you're not already, get on Facebook Live and watch us behind the scenes here on the Seeds to Success show. Thanks so much, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.